like, what are you asking that for?
Hello, everybody. We're back for part 2. And we just had a little break, and we're coming back. And hopefully, if you're watching this, you can settle in the chat to say hello. Yeah, we just took a little break. It's a little easier. So if you sit for 4 hours, you get pretty stiff, especially me because of my situation. I get so stiff. But it's so late for Donna that it's like we can't push this too far. Because I'm 2 hours behind Donna, so it's only like 9 o'clock here for me, right? But for Donna, it's the later it gets, it's like she's probably just like, oh, good Lord, I just want to go to bed. But you're a bit of a night owl anyway, Boo. So
I am. Well, that's why I said to you, I got to.
Yeah, you're a night owl.
That's why I said to you, I have to take my eye out and put these on.
Yeah. But it's been a long day for you, so it's not like your day started like at 9. I mean, your day started at 5 o'clock this morning, so
yeah,
you know,
it's been a long day.
That's really a busy day, and you didn't get a nap like I did.
Yeah. No, I'm still.
I think you're doing great because I got a nap in the middle of this.
I'm jealous because you got one and I didn't.
I know I felt bad, but I was like,
don't feel bad.
I know I wanted to talk to you if you were going to call me after work, but I was like, I got to have a nap or I'm not going to be good for the show. It was just really, and yeah, now I feel pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why, but I was so tired all day. I didn't have a day like you did. I didn't get anything done. I just went to that appointment and came back and had a nap. But I finally had something to eat. I'm like, I guess I better have something to eat. Nothing got done today, and I'm like, oh well. I had my appointment, so I got that done. But for you, you've been running in different towns, different city, like, oh.
Well, we're trying to stay on top of everything, and I didn't want to miss out on Sharon. Even though I really didn't want to give the speech today, I was like, it's not that I didn't want to do it. I shouldn't say it like that, but I just thought it's been so many months since I've given a speech to anybody. And since Aaron picked up, it's not really necessary for me to be out there saying all this stuff anymore. But we still have a lot of people, a lot of
groups, for the registry.
Yeah, a lot of people in groups wanting information. And I'm like, well, it's not going to hurt to share with them because there's been a lot of people that don't understand what we're trying to do. And they make it their own agenda as to what they think it is. And they're so far off base that it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, they don't know. So then they just start saying whatever. Exactly.
Yeah. So I kind of thought, I think it's a really good idea to, sit down and talk with these people. Plus I had a meeting for my job down the road as well. So it made sense to do it. It's just, I don't know. I think that we spent so much time doing the registry that when people say what they know about it, it's not what we've been shopping around, so to speak. It's not what we had in mind. We wanted basically something that mimicked Megan's Law. And that was Aaron's idea as well. He really thought it because it's easy to access, it's easy to use, and all the information's right there. But you still get a lot of people, they don't understand what we're trying to do. So then instantly they have an opinion or they don't agree with you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but no one's going to change my mind. I don't think by having a registry that you can look up if someone comes into your home to work, you get in a relationship with them, or you invite a friend into your home to babysit your children. I think that it's best to have that, pop on it, check somebody out. I'm sorry, but I strongly agree with that. Even when people don't agree with me, I'll say we have to agree to disagree because I believe I'm right. And as long as I think I'm right, you're not going to change my mind. So long day, but it was well worth it.
Yeah. Because long day, but worth it though.
Worth it. Well worth it.
Definitely. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
But good thing now tomorrow hopefully won't be so crazy for you.
I'm sleeping in tomorrow.
And then Friday, then it's Friday. So you only got a couple days to go. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be really good. Yeah, you sure probably you deserve it. That's for sure. I know you've been working so hard, and it's like, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I'm busy doing my thing here, but I'm not on a schedule because I'm not working, so I can have a nap whenever I want to.
Yeah.
My schedule is my own. I can just do what I want. But I remember what it was like. I worked up until a couple of years ago. I was working, and I know what it's like. Like, you don't have a choice. Those, you got to show up and be there and do your best, and be, you really put a lot into your job and working with
Mm-hmm.
those children, and so it's not like you can just go to work and sleep. Like you literally have a big responsibility, and it's not just okay. We'll keep the kids entertained. It's not that. Like you literally every day have a plan how to
Mm-hmm.
for something fun for the kids and something that's
Yeah.
going to mean something to them. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. That's the difference between somebody who's just doing a job and somebody who's committed to actually really doing a great job. So it's a lot of work. Yeah, and that's the thing. So, it's probably very taxing on you. But I know, like, on your heart is in it, and you know, you're like you give it 150%. I know that
Yeah. I love
just
my
from what I
job.
see, because I see the stuff that's on. Yeah, absolutely. And I know that. It's like, I remember when you got that job, I was very happy for you. I knew that would be good for you because I was just like, this is right up your alley, man. This is like, this is, you're going to be, you're going to, well, I mean, they always say, like the old saying goes, you're going to kill it, but you're not going to kill it. But, you got that because that's your creative realm right there. Because you love to work with children and you're really good at it. And being creative and also just being very thorough, like for their safety, for their
Mm-hmm.
well-being.
Mm-hmm.
You're on top of it. Whereas most people, like with this registry thing, they don't realize how many sexual predators their kids come in contact with every single
Every
day.
day.
They don't
Every.
realize at the daycare, at the schools, after school programs, you name it, man. Babysitters,
Mm-hmm.
people in your own family, believe it or not.
Yep.
That's generally where most abuses we know, Donna, happens is when kids are at home. Somebody gets a
Mm-hmm.
hold of the child knows. It's almost always somebody the child knows. It's hardly ever
Yes.
stranger danger. There is that little percentage that's stranger danger, which is sad, but it's mostly somebody the child knows and has access to that child. So
Mm-hmm.
people every day send their kids off to do all this stuff, camps, after school programs, whatever, sports, you name it, clubs of different types, whether it's scouts or brownies or whatever their kids are involved in, uh, uh, and don't realize that their kids are around all of these sexual predators who have been convicted of a crime of abusing and sexually abusing children. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if they're if they just realize that, yeah, if there's a tool that they can check
Yep.
and all they have to do is just go online and punch that number in. People say, well, you can do it now. All you have to do is go on in your own state and stuff. But it's county by county, state by
It's
state.
county by
So what
county.
happened in another county isn't going to transfer over to your county. You know what I mean? So it's only if it happened in your county that you're going to get that info. So this
Yeah.
registry is so important. And that's the thing. It's like, it'll all be there. And one place you can go and get that information and protect your children, protect yourself, protect your family,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just child abusers. I mean, this would be people who would be convicted of domestic violence or
Mm-hmm.
violent sexual assaults of women or men or whatever. And these people will be there and you'll be able to protect yourself. Really important, but people don't
I
care about that until it's too late. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a parent ask me the other day when she picked up her child. She said, um, her ex-husband had been violent and abusive towards her daughter. And she said, under your law that you're fighting for, she said, would he be covered under that? Yes. Anyone that would commit a violent crime against a child, yes, he would be on that registry. And a lot of people don't realize, like you said, it goes county by county. You're lucky if you put it into the system because we do the case lookup here in Pennsylvania. And if you put it in, you are lucky, and I'm going to say very lucky and fortunate that if you look up somebody on the unified justice system, that it's going to have more than one county. Usually it does county by county.
Hmm.
Once in a great while, you will get lucky and it'll pull like a different county, but usually not. And that's going to be the beauty of this
Right.
registry, is you put it in there and it's going to show everything. You're not going to be able to hide. I also
Mhm.
like the fact that if you move in from out of state, um, you're living in California and you move to Pennsylvania. Well, if you're going to be a resident here, you're going to have to register. And I think that that is really incredible. Aaron has the new bill up and it's posted. I haven't got a chance to read over all of it. I know the initial thoughts that we had went into it.
Mhm.
I'm not aware of all the details yet. I have it, but I haven't had a chance to read it. I've actually had it for like 2 weeks. And every time I start reading through it, I either get
Right.
distracted, the phone rings, or something comes up and, but I know that he's working on it. He's got
Yeah.
plenty of
Yeah.
time. So it's not like I need to just jump right on it and read it
Yeah.
today. But I will say it's long. Do you remember in the interview when he said that I sent him a long email? Well, his bill's pretty long.
Right. Yeah. It's even longer than your email.
Longer
But
than
this
my
is the thing.
email.
Yeah, this sure there's a lot of info packed in there. And this is so good. I'm so thankful for Aaron Bernstein to pick this up. Like he cares, like we were saying on a couple shows ago, he just he cares about children.
He does.
And, you know, I'm going to put the links to this. So for anybody who's listening to this, I'm going to have the links down below to the articles that are about the bill that's been, what is it? What's the bill number? 394 or
Nope. House Bill 849.
849? Okay. So that's
849.
the House bill. It's going to be voted on, and they're going to vote on it, or however they do it, and um, I'm going to have the links to the article there from AU4H website, just so if people want to check it out. So if you're listening to this sometime later, if you just look below in the description, I'm going to have the link there to what we're talking about here right now. Yeah, this is so good. I'm so happy. There'll be many people that won't use it, but that's the thing. We have to educate people. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
Aaron was saying in that interview that we did with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm going to need you guys, even though, I know you guys you've done years and years, and like you, Donna, 30 years of advocating for children. He says, but I'm going to need you guys eventually to spread the word, because we need
Mm-hmm.
more education on this. Like the people, there are tools, and you have to know how to use them, and you have to be aware that they're there to even use them.
Mm-hmm.
So if people don't know about the registry, it's useless to them. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we're going to be busy after this bill passes, because it's going to pass.
It's going to pass.
To spread the word.
Yeah, I'm very confident.
I am too.
He's determined.
I am too. I'm absolutely. Yeah.
He's too determined to accept anything less. Seriously, he is. He is so determined. He has 3 incredible sponsors on it. I mean, he's just so determined about protecting children and doing the right thing. And I like him. I follow him on different formats, and the stuff he posts, it's like he really cares about children. He really cares about the United States, and the best for people. And I respect that. I like him.
Yeah. He cares about families. He cares about children. He's kind of down to earth. He's like, this country, we need change. We need help. Like, yeah, it's so good. It's so refreshing to see somebody like him come along, because you fought for, like, you've been working for 10 years to try to get anybody to take this and run with it. Government officials, and then they all say nice things like, oh, it's so nice, great what you're doing, and I love your work, but not interested at this time. And that's unfortunate, because kids are dying every single day needlessly. People are entering into abusive relationships with people that aren't being honest, and they've been committed of violent crimes against women or whatever, or even men, and they're entering these relationships not even realizing this, because the people aren't being honest with them, and they're becoming victims. This is terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We need this registry, and it's not to crucify anybody. It's not to, it's not to re-persecute these people all over again. It's just so that people can keep themselves safe.
Yeah.
And
And
because these are
a lot of
convicted criminals, right?
things people have to understand is we have Megan's Law. People keep saying, why can't we put the two together? Megan's Law is specifically for sexual abuse. So we can't stick child
Mhm.
abuse because it's different, it's physical.
No.
They have to be separated. A lot of people don't understand
Yeah,
that.
that's
They
right.
just think it's all one big thing, and it's not. And this bill is going
Right.
to, I'm
That's
telling
right.
you, when this becomes a law, it's going to protect so many children. I keep thinking back to Mashana losing her son Connor, and then April Brandt with her
Yeah.
daughter, and it's like it clicks. He
Mm-hmm.
had been a lifetime abuser, and when I say that, it dated clear back to the time he was in the military, and then he killed Connor. He tortured
Mm-hmm.
Connor and killed him, which was horrible. And then he no more gets out of jail for killing Connor,
Yeah.
and he gets in a relationship with somebody else, and within a month he abuses her child. So
Yeah.
there's a pattern
That's
to
it.
it.
1 month.
There's a pattern, and
That's
it's
not going to
one.
change. That's
Yeah,
right.
once they abuse, they're going to continue to abuse. A lot of people say, oh, they can have counseling and you can rehabilitate them. Well, if you think that, maybe, but I don't, because I've seen the statistics. I've seen the people that I've worked with. I've seen it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you cannot reform somebody who's abusive, not
Yeah.
completely. Oh,
That's right. Cool. No, not there are serial people who are serial abusers, serial
mhm.
murderers, serial
Yes.
child predators. We're talking people who that's they for whatever reason that's how they're wired, and they don't do anything different until they
No.
end up dead and off the planet. Literally,
Yeah.
that's their life, and they go around hurting people, killing people, whether it's a child, man, woman, whatever. So the issue, yeah, and I mean this is the issue. It's kind of like with Aaron Bernstein. He tried to get that Marquis law passed because that guy had gotten out of prison and then assaulted that girl like right after. So some of them, I do believe. Okay, I do believe that some people, because it's probably a fact. I mean, I know it's a fact somewhere that there's someone who was reformed in prison and came
Oh,
out a better
probably.
person and came
Probably.
out with. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. That's the case, but it's not everyone, and there's a
No.
lot of reoffenders. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
some of these people, not all, but many of them go on to do the same exact things or worse when they come out because they cannot be reformed. They can't
No.
be they can't be made any different. That's just what they do. And this is sad and tragic because you know what? Why do they have more rights than the victims?
That's what I've asked a
What
hundred
about the
times.
victims in these cases? Like, yeah,
A,
I mean,
a lot
I'm
of
glad
the
that we have human rights.
Yep. A lot of the lawmakers I sat down with, that was their question to me. Well, what about the
Mhm.
abuser's rights? And I'm like, well, what about the victim's rights? And like we battled back and forth.
Yeah.
The only person besides Erin to show any support was Stephanie Borowitz. The first time I sat down with her, she was like, no. Then the second time we sat down, and a lot of people say that I say this because I don't like Stephanie. Get on social media, you'll see pictures all over of her and I. We are friends, we get along. We just don't agree on
That's great.
everything.
That's
No
right.
two people do. Um,
That's
but
right. That's normal.
she said,
It's
I wasn't against it. She said, I totally didn't like understand what you were trying to do. The second time I sat down with her,
mhm.
she's like, I think we should go talk to Chris Dush. I'm like, excellent. So she did show support, but the first time around, she kind of didn't understand what I was trying to do. And that makes sense. The only bad
Right.
part is our meeting with Chris Dush got canceled. And getting a new appointment was like pulling teeth because once they're in session, it's really hard to get an appointment, especially between their schedule and my schedule at
Yeah.
that point. We were just constantly on the road. I mean, I think I was doing 3 and
Yeah.
4 podcasts a week on our travels, and then we actually would travel on the weekends,
Oh
and
yeah.
I wasn't doing podcasts because I was so tired of podcasting and running and driving, and became overwhelmed. But I am glad that we did I
Mhm.
think it was um, 3 or I can't remember if it was 3 years or it was 4 years and 3 seasons. I forget how it was, of the podcast where we documented who we talked to, what we did. There was a lot of time people didn't want you to mention their name, and they would actually say, please don't put my name out there that you talked to me. Would you just say a representative or whatever organization or group? And we did, because I tried to have respect. But then there was a few of them I just literally called right out. I'm like, look, you don't want to do anything. You want to promote bad behavior. I'm not afraid to say what I'm thinking. So I'm going to come right out and I'm just going to say it. And then I did. And then they would get mad at me. And then they would say, well, I didn't mean it the way you said it. And I'm like, I said it the way you said it to me. So that's what it sounded like coming out of your lips. And they would get mad, but it was the truth. What's more important than protecting a child?
Yeah, that's right. You weren't slandering anybody. You're just telling the truth. And truth is everything, man.
Lori, every time I sat down with them, I presented them the statistics that are reported. I went strictly by statistics. This many kids are abused each day. This many kids are abused each year. These are the people that get the slap on the wrist and they're back out in a couple months out there abusing more and killing more children. And if you think a child's life is 5.5 years, you're crazy. So my goal is let these people see, like, let them see, let lawmakers see. But we talk to groups, organizations, we talk to local politicians. I wanted them to see, yes, the reality of what an advocate sees, the amount of people that are calling you continuously, or someone's in a relationship with somebody, and then the next thing you know, they're beating the shit out of that woman and then their kids, or even that man. Because we've had plenty of men come to us and say, like, hey, my woman here, she's crazy. And the first call I ever got that a man had gotten attacked by a woman, I was like, wow, come on, like, you're a big dude. But there's men out there that are respectable men that won't hit a woman no matter how many times they hit them, and it doesn't make them a lesser person. I think they're very strong for standing up in their beliefs and not like hitting a woman back. But there's so many people, that
and it's also same sex same sex.
Well, and then the statistics also, anyone can be an abuser. It can be someone someone you love, someone you trust. I tried telling people, look how many parents or grandparents abuse their own children or grandchildren. So you mean to tell me someone coming into your home from the outside wouldn't abuse your child? And a lot of people was like, well, we can't put the information out there. Why should we continue to hide these people on a private registry so that they can go out and abuse and hurt more children? And how's the average person supposed to protect their child from this person? I won't say what I'm thinking in my head. How are you supposed to check your child?
Gonna keep it clean here tonight, folks.
Yes, I have some pretty bad names when I'm mad and I'm talking about child abusers.
Yeah.
But
I know, because it's like it's insane, they get so much respect and so much, all these people that kill children, they get so much benefits and respect, and it's terrible. Those kids are laying in a body bag dead, and nobody gives a crap about those children. But they do care about them abusers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I think that's what I don't mean that we should become one of these societies that, it's very offensive. It really is. Because those little kids,
they don't deserve it.
It's heartbreaking. Just like Mashana, had she known, I mean, this is the thing. It's not okay, No. And that little child will never get a chance to grow up. That little child will never get a chance to graduate high school, never get a chance to, get married and have their own children. It's been taken from them. It's been stolen from them.
Yep.
And back in the old days, man, people, they talk about life for life. You kill somebody. I mean, you forfeit your life. I mean, people would say, well, that's barbaric. And it's like, well, it sure cuts down on the amount of people out there killing babies, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It's kind of like, if they thought that they were going to die, and that they weren't going to get away with it, they were going to die. if they got caught doing something like that. I think it would keep a lot of people from doing that sort of thing. But it's sad because I do care about people. To be honest with you, I care about all people,
Oh,
but
I do
I
too.
care more for the victims than I do for the offenders. I care. My first thought is on the victim. Most
Mine
people's
too.
thoughts are on the offender. It's kind
Nope.
of like, oh, they shouldn't have to do so much time. They were messed up in
No.
the head. They had, they
Mhm.
try to make excuses for these behaviors, and it's like, especially these repeat offenders, it's kind of like, where's the sympathy for their victims? Whether
Exactly.
it was a child or a man or a woman, where's the sympathy for the victims? That's what it makes me angry, and I do want to say nasty things and mean things, but
You
I'll
do.
refrain tonight too. But
Yeah.
it does make me want to, because, and I'm sure I've said many bad things before about this. But the thing
Me
is,
too.
is like, it's unreal how much support those, I call them monsters, those monster convicted murdering SOBs, how much support they get. And
Yeah.
there's their victims laying in the ground, in a coffin, they're turning to dust. Let's be
Yep.
real about this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is not okay. And people
No.
sit there and cry the wah wah blues because, we don't want a registry and want people to know what this person's done. You know what I mean? Why not? Everybody should know what it's done. Like I said, I think in the future, and I'm not one of these people that, oh, okay, I don't really want to consider myself to be one of these people that thinks like, oh, we should all have you know, some built-in hardware or something, like, like they're trying to do today, where they're trying to put chips in people's brains and stuff. But the thing is back in the old days, if you were a thief, they used to cut your hand off.
Mhm.
Everybody then would know that you're a thief and that you stole, and that's why your hand got cut off. People say that's barbaric. Okay, if you were a murderer, they would hang you. And they
Mhm.
found you, they knew you were guilty, you were going to hang, and you were going to hang from a tree, and you were going to swing until you're dead.
Yep.
That's how it was back in them days. And it's like, people say that's so cruel, but actually, um, it took care of a lot of problems. Like nowadays, it's like, oh, just a little pat on the wrist. Oh, so you killed those two children. Well, 7 years. And they're out 4 years later because they got all
Uh-huh.
this time off for good behavior and
Yep.
time served originally for the trial. And they're out in 5 years. They go out and they have more kids, or they get a hold of somebody else's children and they kill them or abuse them. This is ridiculous. You
Yeah.
know, like, it
Do
really
you,
is. I'm telling you, second time offenders, I really believe second time offenders should get no whatsoever opportunity. They should be, what do you want to call that, when they're put into solitary confinement and put
mhm.
away for the rest of their lives. I'm not saying they should be hung from a tree and all that. That'd be more
Mhm.
merciful, actually. But they should just be put away somewhere, away from people. It's like, okay, you're a second offender. You've murdered some more children or women or men or whatever. Cold-blooded murder. You found guilty again. You came out of prison. You did it again. I think they should be put away for life in solitary confinement with no TV, no computer, no nothing, and let them sit
Oh,
there
we
and
can't
think about
offend
what
their
they've done.
rights
They won't
now.
care, but they'll
Uh,
die there.
remember, remember though,
It's just, they
remember
have
we
rights.
they have rights. We can't offend them. We can't offend them. We can't treat them
That's
negatively.
right.
Even though they killed somebody, we can't treat them negatively. They have rights. And I'm like, that's
Yeah,
bullshit. You took the rights of that person away. You took the rights of that
it
child
is.
away when you murdered them. And I'm supposed to sit here and feel sorry for you because your rights are being offended. In my
Yeah,
opinion, when you kill a child and you're in prison, you
that's
don't
right.
have no rights anymore. You deserve what you get.
That's right. That's right.
I think back to
That's
Baby
right. Yeah. I
Brianna.
mean, seriously.
Do you remember Baby
Mm-hmm.
Brianna?
New
Okay.
Mexico.
So,
I
yes.
do.
So,
Yeah, because I'm from New Mexico, so I remember that.
y-
Terrible,
years
terrible.
ago, after she was killed, there was a video of her father and uncle. And I don't want to say they laughed because she died, but they laughed because she died. They thought it was humorous that she had died.
Oh yeah,
And I remember watching the sentencing of the father. And when he found out that he was
they
going
were
to
sick.
prison, yeah. And when he found out he was going to prison, he was flipping out and he was crying and he was screaming. And it's like, you're a sad, pathetic little person because you didn't care what you did to that baby. You didn't care how
Mhm.
bad you hurt her. That
No,
there was no love ever given to that child from the moment she was born. And it's sad and it's
no,
pathetic
no.
because her life didn't matter. But now they just sentenced you to all these years in prison, and poor you. You're so upset and you're crying. And honestly,
Yeah.
I think, fuck you, buddy. You deserve what you get. You should be in jail for the rest of your life. You tortured and killed an innocent baby. I just, I have no
Yeah.
mercy for
Yeah.
these people. I
It's
think
terrible.
sometimes if I said what I thought about people who abuse and kill children, it wouldn't be fit for the air. I try to hold my peace. I
That's it.
try to say things nicely. I try to, because we have a lot of people that
Mhm.
listen, and I never want to offend our listeners. But I'll tell you what, Lori, those
Yeah.
people that are in and out of jail for abusing and killing children, it's like a joke. It's like a joke. The next county over
Mhm.
for me, like Cumming County,
It is. It's
we
pathetic.
have so
Yeah.
many cases recently where these judges are giving these people, um, like, they don't have to have bail, but yet they've already either abused or sexually assaulted a child, and they've been convicted priorly, but they're just like, little slap on the wrist, that no bail, no ankle bracelet, no monitoring, no nothing. And they actually just had a peaceful protest the other day down there because they're like, what the hell's going on that you're not protecting our children? You're giving these people a slap on the
Mhm.
wrist. And one of the people reached out to me, and I said, that's what I fell into. They don't want to protect children. We need laws in the books. We need laws to change. That was really why 10 years ago, actually
Yeah.
probably longer than that, 15 years ago, we do a lot of hands-on advocacy work, and I'll always help people that need help. I'm not saying I won't, but that was why I kind of switched to the law side of it and started working on trying to get some of the laws changed,
Mhm.
because you need to get the laws changed to protect the children, because
Yeah.
the laws do not protect the children. They protect the abuser. They protect
No.
the killer. And it's sad and it's pathetic. That's
Yeah.
why, honestly, I changed my focus with so much advocating and like helping people hands on, because we have AU4H and they had always
Mhm.
covered everybody hands on. It was easier for even you yourself and Lee and myself to be behind the scenes pushing for stricter laws and tougher sentencings and that kind of thing, because
Yeah.
until you have laws in place that are going to protect children, these people are going to continue to get a slap on the wrist and nothing's going to be done and nothing's going to happen to them. And that's really sad and pathetic when you think about it.
It is. It is. And it's just, we see it. It's like all most okay now. A lot of people that aren't interested in children dying, they just don't care that somebody else's child's been killed by somebody. Doesn't affect them. They don't care. Wouldn't be paying attention to it. But there's a bunch of people that are, and we
Yeah.
see the
Hmm.
amount of cases where they get like a little slap on the wrist, and they might do a few years, and it's not the crime, the punishment does not fit the crime. That's the problem,
No.
and I think the justice system is just kind of like, look, our prisons are overflowing now. We can't afford, like we got to do something. So they'll let a lot of this stuff slide. Depends on where you live in the country. I'm just talking about the states right now, but it's the same way in Canada. I mean, we have our own situation up here that's very similar to the states. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Same problems, right? Because we're so much alike. Really, there's a border there, but we are very much the same people. A
Hmm.
melting pot of different groups of people all together, just doing our thing. And it's like, same, almost the same vision. We think a lot alike. It was all about, healthy families, healthy life. Do what we can, help the masses, help the poor people, help the elderly. There's all kinds of stuff in place, but obviously it's not perfect, and there's never going to be anything perfect. And even Aaron Bernstein had told us in that interview, he's like, it's not going to be perfect. The bill won't be exactly what we want, just so we all know that. But he said we'll get it as close as we can to
Hmm.
what you originally had put out there, Donna. And I was like, I can understand that, because there's
I do too.
going to be people that will push back and say, no, 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 to this, but okay to that. Yes to
Mm-hmm.
this, no to that. Yes to
Yeah.
this, no to that. The parent, or it was a parent. I won't even mention which one it was, but got busted for abusing, just physically abusing their children and neglect, and they got a lot of years. So it just depends
Mm-hmm.
on where you live and what county you live in and who the judge is. A lot of the times, right? There was
Lori, I
another
know
guy, I can't remember
people.
his name. I had been following this case.
I know people that get charged
Oh, go
more
ahead, Boo.
for having weed on them, which is probably going to be legal in Pennsylvania very shortly, than it is for you to abuse and kill a child. Someone that sells pot spends more time in jail than a child abuser or child killer. And that's a proven fact. I can name one case off the
Mm-hmm.
top of my head that someone has
Oh,
been
yeah.
in jail over 25 years for selling weed. And I know this person and 25 years, but you don't see no child abusers or no child killers in jail no 25 years.
No, not usually. A lot,
No.
half of that, if not less than that.
Yep.
Half of that, under 10 years usually. And it's like, and usually half of that. It's terrible. It's like this one guy. Now, I don't know how much time he got. He might have got life. I think he did get life. But him and he killed his little daughter. And I can't remember her name, but this was a very famous case out that was in the news. And I was following it all, I think it was last summer. And I can't think of her name, but she was a cute little girl, and she didn't deserve that, you know. And he killed her, and then he carried her around like in a duffel bag and folded her body in half, and it was just absolutely horrid. The stuff, I won't even go any more details than that. Carried her in a duffel bag for months with some sort of like salts and other things to keep the smell from getting out. And this girl who was with him was not the child's mother, but was his girlfriend. And she saw the whole thing and did nothing about it because she loved the man. She
Mm-hmm.
loved her husband. Well, I guess they were married. Yeah, I think they were. And the child's real mother, who wanted custody of her and would have loved her and taken care of her, wasn't allowed to have custody because she missed one meeting. She missed one hearing. And they just automatically gave it to this guy who had all kinds of previous convictions. The dad had tons of convictions, all sorts of horrible stuff, violence, sexual assault, all this stuff. And he's allowed to take care of that child. And so, and I mean, yeah, so yeah, there's the child dead. And who cares? Nobody, except for that poor grieving mother who wanted her daughter and couldn't have custody of her. This is pathetic. And then there was that woman who was with him during this whole time. She got time in prison too for being co-conspirators, or because she didn't turn him in. She went along with it, hiding the body and all this. She's doing some time, a few years, 3 to 5 years or something like that. In the meantime, there's another woman who likes this guy who's in prison and I think, wants to have children with him. What's the matter with people? Like,
They're
do you not
crazy.
see that there's people, you know, what's the matter with people that they think that that's okay? This world is really screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's people that are willing to stand up and use their voices and say, no, that's not okay. And if the majority of the world says, no, that's not okay, then we can try to protect children and try to save people's lives. Otherwise, if it goes the other way and the majority says, hey, this is what we're doing nowadays, we're just killing children, well, then it's going to be the opposite. And they'll be in charge, and this world's going to be hell on earth. Do you really want to live in a place like this? It's like,
No.
put yourself in those children. I think here's what I think. I think that people who do these crimes, any violent crime, I don't care what it is, if you attack somebody and you're found 100% guilty and you're convicted of that crime, violent crime against anybody, adult, men, women, child, doesn't matter if it's sexual in nature or if it's just physical assault or whatever, you should be treated the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
You rape somebody, you should be raped yourself. That should be part of your punishment. You bash somebody's head in, you should have your head bashed in.
People
That's
think
how I
much
feel. I
differently.
really do feel eye for an
Yeah, people would
eye
think
for an
much
eye.
differently.
Yeah,
If they thought there was consequences like
they
that,
would.
they would think much differently. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we had little Anson Stover. His case is like in my head. I think of that little boy all the
Yeah.
time. Another one was Nicole and Jasmine
It's
Snyder
sad.
from Lycoming County, where the biological mother and the girlfriend, they abused them little girls. They made them take cold baths. They would give them like a teaspoon apiece to eat each day. Um, they had to stand in the corner for hours. And the mother made the comment, I read it in the newspaper, that she watched the one daughter take her last breath and they buried her in the backyard. Both two little
It's
girls
just
buried
sick.
them in the backyard. No one checked on them. The father kept trying to
Yeah.
see them and stuff like that, but they also had a son, and they were nice to the son, but not to the girls. And the father, he literally he did
Mm-hmm.
everything in his power to see him, but he was not allowed. And then even these little girls had been dead for several years, and no one stepped in and checked. It was like, where the hell was the school
This is
calling to see
tragic.
why they weren't in school?
Where's the school system?
You know,
They,
where's a
yeah,
doctor's
exactly.
office
Exactly.
to know that these children haven't been seen by a doctor or a dentist or in all these
Mm-hmm.
years, nobody notices these two little girls are around. Come on. And then the mother still getting benefits for them,
This
even when they're
happens all
gone.
the time. Right.
And it's just,
And this happens all the time. This is
yeah,
like a regular occurrence nowadays. Kids are just
it's,
disappear. Nobody
it,
checks on them, and they're
do
dead.
you,
And it's like, eh,
do you
nobody
know how
cares.
many people from my community will say, abuse doesn't happen here? Abuse doesn't happen here. Once in a great while, someone flips out and smacks their kid's ass, but abuse don't happen here. Well, then apparently you're not living in the same
Right.
community I am, because there's things happening all the time.
That's
And
it.
a kid getting his butt smacked, nope,
Yeah,
that's not
it's
child
everywhere.
abuse or discipline. But when you're beating your
That's right.
child, leaving bruises and black and blue marks and not
Hmm.
feeding them, come on,
Yeah, when you hurt and harm a child like that, that's abuse. That's right.
you know.
Not a little smack on the butt. That's not abuse.
But I don't
There's a
know.
difference, and that's the thing. Most people are not educated, and they don't realize.
No,
Like
I
starving your
think that
children, that's abuse.
I
Yeah.
think that in this area we've talked about child abuse so much that I think people got tired of hearing us talk about it, but they're in denial. The biggest thing is people's in denial.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to admit there's a problem.
for sure they are.
It's too easy
Yeah.
just to say, "Oh, that doesn't happen here," or "No, it can't be," or "Oh,
No
that's
big
taken out
deal.
of context." They're good people. Everybody around here says, "Oh, they're good people. They're good people." Yeah, that's how good people they
It's
are.
like, sure. Yeah.
That's
No, it's
yes,
terrible. It's like it happens everywhere.
it does.
It happens in every community. Doesn't matter where you live. It's just like certain family members, like a certain family member. Like, I mean, the way that we grew up, we all grew up in the same house, but we all saw different things, lived through different things, my
Mhm.
siblings and myself. And my sister is just like totally in denial. You know, and she, when she found out what I was doing with stopping and preventing child abuse, she was just like, why would you do that? Like, there's no big deal about child abuse. I just looked at her like, what, did mom beat your head in a couple times too hard or something? And you got a couple screws loose or something like that? Like, child abuse is wrong. If you can't say that, if you can't say that child abuse is wrong, it doesn't mean you have to get on the bandwagon and become an advocate. But you need to admit that it's wrong. It's yeah. If you can't, that means that you are kind of hopefully inviting that upon yourself. Somebody
Mhm.
treat you like that, you'll be the first one screaming out, hey, that's wrong. It's incredibly wrong. Remember that one time I had this analogy that I used to use, because there was somebody that was saying, oh, what's the big deal on child abuse or whatever? It's not that big. And I'm like, not that big of a deal. It's a huge being abused. Um,
Mhm.
and I thought, what's wrong with somebody who would say something like that? It's kind of like they said, well, what's the difference? What does right and wrong mean? It's all subjective. I said, okay, here's something for you. I told this person, I said, how what do is someone come along there to kill your wife and they're going to make you watch. You're not going to be able to fight back. You're going to have to watch. And they're just going to kill them right in front of you. They're just going to leave their bodies there. And then what they're going to do is come over and they're going to cut off your leg. They're going to chop your leg off. They're just going to let you bleed profusely. Um, are you going to think there's something wrong with that? and that person couldn't say anything. I was like, see, there's a right and a wrong. That's just how it is. There's right and wrong, you know, and it's like, if we have to all agree the child abuse is wrong. But the problem being is there's a bunch of people out there that love to abuse children, and they think it's great. So I want to know, like, okay, what's wrong with somebody chopping your leg off or killing your husband in front of you? You know, that's perfectly fine. That's terribly wrong. And people would say, well, it's subjective. It's like, you can say that until you're sitting there with your leg off. Are you going to be cursing and crying? And you betcha. So I can't stand people like that. I really can't. It's kind of like, those types of people are the most ignorant on the planet, I believe. They're the ones that are trying to be so smart, trying to say, oh, right and wrong, what's right and wrong, that's all subjective. That's bullshit, or objective, or whatever they're saying. I don't even care, because I'm like, look,
Yeah.
there's right and there's wrong.
There's right and
And
wrong.
abuse towards an animal, abuse towards a person. I mean, you and me, we know this, but this, I'm just telling anybody who's listening, is wrong. And don't let somebody kind of come along and try to blur the lines, because that's fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? And that's coming
Nailed
from
it.
somebody who survived child sexual abuse and physical abuse. And it's like, don't let somebody blur the lines. It's wrong. We're not talking about discipline. Discipline and child abuse are two different things. And sometimes you have to if you don't discipline your child, they're going to be a monster that's going to end up getting hurt by the law, most likely later on in life. You know, like they're gonna they're gonna be so far out of behavior wise out of the box that they're not going to do well with teachers. They're not going to do well with law enforcement or anybody telling them what to do. You have to discipline. If you don't
Yeah.
discipline, you're a bad parent. It's like you
Yep.
need to. There is discipline that's so important, but discipline is not abuse. It's not.
No.
It's not the
No.
same thing at all. We're not talking about discipline, and that's where people blur the lines. They think, "Oh, you're saying we can't discipline our child." No, that's not what we're saying at all. If you have to discipline children, I know I needed discipline. I know the difference between abuse and discipline because I was disciplined sometimes for things that I knew that it was real discipline and I deserved it. I knew exactly what it was for, and it didn't hurt and it didn't harm me. It kind of lowered my ego a little bit, and it made me sort of feel like, wow, I guess I better straighten up. But the thing is it didn't. That's not abuse. Abuse, kids
No.
know the difference between abuse
Uh-huh.
and discipline. And it's like I knew the difference between a beating that was just plain because my mom wanted to just dish something out on me, and I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't even do anything. I was like, wow, okay. So you start to learn there is a difference. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
We're not talking
Most
about
definitely.
discipline, you know. So I know I get all it does. It just, yeah. No, I'm so
Frustrating.
glad for people like. Well, it is frustrating. It is because we're out here we're not against anybody. We're just out here trying to protect the rights of the child. And
Yep.
children do have rights. They actually
Yes,
have a
they do.
couple more rights than adults have, because there's a few in there that aren't even listed for adults, but children have it. Because it's the right to go to school and the right for there's something else. I can't remember now. It's not toys or anything stupid like that, but they have the right to get their needs met as children. So
Mm-hmm.
there are child rights out there, and we need to uphold them. And so anybody who's listening to this, I mean, normally we don't talk about child abuse. We're just mentioning here tonight.
No.
But yeah, use your voice, get involved, check out that registry because I'm going to be putting the links down there, and just check it out for yourself. Take a look at how many children are abused in your own community, and I mean, 1 out of 4. So if 4 people watch this, 1 out of 4 pretty much will have experienced some type of abuse in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So one out of 4 adults who would watch this program tonight, our show here tonight, would know about it, and some don't care, and that's fine. You don't have to become some advocate, out here using your voice. I just wanted to. It made sense to me to do it, but because
Me
I knew
too.
all about it, and I thought, why am I not saying something? I'm like, I lived through abuse. I watched my mom be abused by my dad. I mean, it's protect herself. But the thing is she didn't start it. She was just trying to save her own self, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I grew up in abuse. So I'm like, why am I not saying something about this? I really should be. At that point, I was ready to start talking about it, you know. And not everybody would want to do that. That's fine. You don't have to do that. But just look out for the kids around you.
For
Look
your
out for your
kids.
own children. Protect your own children first, and look out for the kids that they play with, their little playmates. Maybe you know, you've got some great nieces and nephews in your life, or you know, you got some friends, the family who have children. Look out for them too, right? Keep an
Mm-hmm.
eye out. Keep an eye out. Keep an ear open, man. Be watching for the signs and symptoms. You could save a child's life.
Yep.
You know, so important. So yeah, you know,
It's
I mean,
vital.
we've talked about this so much, but I think it's okay to revisit it, especially because we're talking about the registry. If you know, I mean, we're discussing something very important here. That registry is now a House bill, and it's like I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's going to be passed. I really do.
Me too. Me
It may
too.
not, like Aaron said, it may not be exactly. Yeah, I do. I'm all positive about it. I really
Me
am,
too.
because I'm like
Me too.
he's already he's going to get it done this year. Yeah, I believe it, because I believe that the government that's in there now in the states is pro family,
Yes.
pro children. I really
Yes.
do. The one
Yes.
that just came in. So you know, we're not really talking politics, but so I think it's going to get passed. I really do, and that's good news.
It's very
And then
good
it's
news.
just all about educating the public. Yeah. So kudos to you, Donna, for starting that, because I know you started that like 10 years ago and busted your behind traveling all over the place to try to get somebody to listen to you and to take interest, you know. And of course, I'm sure some of them were interested. It just wasn't for their campaign this year. It just didn't work out, you know. It's like, okay, all right, I'll move on. And you finally
Oh,
got somebody to take it on. Oh, I'm so thankful.
Lori, I had so many people say, not this year, maybe next year, or this just doesn't seem like
Right.
it's going to fit the agenda this year, but we'll revisit it in a year or two. And I'm like, kids don't have a year or two. Do you know how
Hmm.
many kids are going to die in the time that
That's
you
right.
say, let's take a year or two and discuss it? Children are
Thousands,
dying every day. So we got to do something
thousands,
about it.
thousands of children every year. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I used to tell everybody when we were talking, I would say 1 in 4. So think of it this way: one of the 4 of us standing here talking right now has been abused. And different people, even
Hmm.
within the group, would say, yeah, I was abused as a child, or, they would say something. And it's like, okay, so
Hmm.
you even know yourself, but yet we're going to let it slide till maybe next year. And I think that's why, like, I got so offended by so many different people. And we were literally 9 days
Hmm.
away from saying, that's it, I'm done. We're not doing it anymore.
I
When we
know.
started, when we started,
Yeah.
I started doing the statistics and everything on that, seeing, like what the numbers were. And then when I finally took it to Lee and said, hey, I think this is what we should do, um, she goes, okay. Every year that passed by, I was like, okay, okay. We were coming upon the 10th year. And I said, once it hits the 10th year, if we don't make it, I'm done, because there's just no more that we can do. We have done and done and done. Now, a lot of the years took research, like
Hmm.
research and a
Oh yeah.
whole long hot mess, I will say. But if I wouldn't have went to that
Yeah.
family reunion and talked to my relative, I would have never reached out to Aaron. That was the only way. And
Yeah.
he
No
was,
kidding.
and a couple people said, well, you were in that area before. And I'm like, yeah, but he had just got elected. So no, when I was
Right.
there last, I didn't have a chance to talk to him. I talked to the other person. And I had a list of
That's right.
everyone I called, everyone I emailed, everyone I reached out to, and how, whatever way. And a lot of the ones that said, oh, I never heard about this before. It's like, I got a confirmation that you received my email. So that is bullshit.
That's right. Because you save all your shit, so you know. That's
Yes.
it. It's yeah. That's BS. Yeah. No, they're just
Yeah.
trying to say, "Oh, I didn't know anything about it." No, I know. I'm so thankful for Aaron to take that up. Like, That was
Me
so
too.
cool, and I'm highly impressed with anybody that cares about children,
Me too.
and I really am because so many people in the world don't give one two hoots about children, but I care about children. I never got to
Yeah.
have any, unfortunately, but the reason I didn't get to have any is because I was raped as a child. So let's all remember that and get that straight for people that don't know my story. I wanted children. I couldn't have them because of what I suffered as a child. So, this is what children, if they're not killed, then they have a lifetime of troubles, and traumas, whatever they are. And I'm always impressed with people that care about children.
Me
You
too.
bet.
Me too.
It just makes me happy. Yeah. So, I mean, I appreciate you, Donna, for what you've done. Like, you really just busted your patootie to work so hard to get this. I'm trying
My
to keep it clean
patootie.
here. Um,
My patootie.
Good. I know you busted your behind, to get it that far, and then you were just about ready. And, that just really does, because we are Christians and we do sometimes talk about the Lord. So hopefully we're not offending anybody. We're not trying to convert you, just so you know. Um, I think it was just God's timing.
It
It
was
was
God.
God's timing.
This
Absolutely.
this is this has all
Yeah.
been God. From the time that we worked on Connor's Law, and then we started doing this, and then I just got some information the other day about Kira's Law in Kentucky. All these different
Hmm.
laws that we've gotten involved with. I'll be honest, it's God, because starting
Yeah.
out, I would
I
have
do
never
believe that.
had to
Absolutely.
know how to start going about petitioning for a law, and just to
Hmm.
basically just have certain things just fall in my lap and be like, okay, this is what you need to do, or this is who you need to talk to. I have a bad
Hmm.
habit where I want it in my time. I'm one of those people, like, when do you want it done by? Yesterday, meaning I want it now. But I learned that life is in
A
God's
little
time.
impatient.
I am very impatient.
I'm just kidding. I think we
Very.
all are. We all are, especially when we really care about something. It's like, oh, yesterday.
Yep.
No time is soon enough, right? Oh yeah,
Yep. I don't know how
yeah.
many times Lee has said, when do you want this by? And I'm like, yesterday. And she'll say, well, you got to give me a minute to look it over. And I'm like, are you done yet?
I think that's human nature. I really do think it's human nature. We're all a little bit like that. I think. I mean, if we really want to be honest with ourselves, we're all a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Patience is hard for us as
Hmm.
humans. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Most
especially
definitely.
this thing, I mean, we put in 10 years, like 9 point whatever, 9 point,
9 days. 9 days before it's 10 years. 9.
9.9999 exactly
9.
years. And you were just about ready to say, that's it. And then there you go. And I mean, and I don't blame you, because after 10 years, I remember we were talking about this a couple of years back, and you were like, I just, I'm trying. Nothing's happening. And I was like, well, you've certainly put the time in, because I realized I sort of knew how much time you had been working on this, because I was the one in the background putting the stuff on, helping put stuff
Hmm.
online, and really
Yeah.
um, post the podcasts on different networks, and trying to just help out, like a little helping hand, because I'm 3,000 miles away, or 2,500 miles away, and I was like, I just want to help do something, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that was nice for me to be able to do. But it really gave me a real sense of how much legwork you did. I
Hmm.
mean, we're not even talking about the thousands of emails and phone calls and all of this. We're talking about hours and hours and hours of driving to these appointments, back and forth, just to have the door shut in your face, saying, "Oh, not
Hmm.
this year. Oh no, not right now." Have such rejection, and you just kept going. And that's why I said, pat yourself on the back, because you really put the time in. And I said, it really is God's timing. And sure enough, here it is. And God made a way. I'm so thankful. Very thankful. Yeah.
Me too.
Hallelujah.
So very
And I can
thankful.
say that because I'm a Christian. We can say that. I'm not ashamed to be a Christian.
Me either. God and
Um,
I have so
I
many
love
talks and
it. It's
conversations,
I
and
don't, yeah. No, it's important. Absolutely. I mean,
It
and
is.
really, it is in His time. All of it's in His time. So, uh,
Yeah.
I've been praying about this for since I knew you had started doing this, and I'm still praying. And I'm like, Lord, you know, Thy will, but you know, it would be great for this to be passed. More
Mhm.
children protected, and um, yeah. So and then when Aaron came
Lori, that's
along,
all
and
it's
he's
ever
such a
been
family
about.
man, and he does care.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all it's ever been
that's
about.
right.
Like, we've had people say things like, "Oh, you just want this for yourself, or you want this, or you want that." No, I don't. I want it to protect
Hmm.
children. I'm a
Yeah,
grandmother. I'm a grandmother,
yeah,
and I want
that's
my
right.
grandchildren to be protected. And that doesn't mean I'm talking about my daughter, my
Hmm.
son, or their spouses. I'm talking about people that may come into their lives, people that may do work at their homes, people who may babysit my grandchildren.
Yeah,
I want to make sure these people are safe. And
hmm.
it's not just about
That's it.
my kids, it's all kids. It's not just about all kids because I want my kids
Right.
protected too. So this is for the kids. This
That's
isn't
right.
have nothing
So
to
it's
do with
full circle.
Lori, Donna, Lee. It has to do with the children. It's always been about the children. Lori, I don't know
That's
anything
right.
else.
That's right.
I know nothing else but about
Yeah.
with kids, working with kids. I lived at home. I had 3 siblings.
Hmm.
Um, I moved out. I got married. I had 2 kids. From the time my kids could walk, we had every kid in the neighborhood at our house. Um, I first started working and
Hmm.
advocating in the school district. I worked in nursing. I mean, and I work again, working with children. And then I started more of being an educator, again, working with children.
Hmm.
That's
Teacher
all I
center.
know is working with children. And I look at kids and they're so innocent and they're so vulnerable. And then you have these
Hmm.
monsters out there
They
and
are.
they don't give two shits about anything. My goal is to protect
I
kids.
know.
And I my heart goes out to children and my heart goes out to animals because they're and the elderly, because they're the 3 things that cannot protect themselves.
Yeah, yeah. It's the weak and the vulnerable, humans and animals of society. Like, you know, it's they need protection, and they do
Mhm.
need everybody's voice in on this. Really, like
Yeah.
we just don't mind doing it. I don't mind doing it because I thought, I mean, when I began my healing journey, I thought, I should be saying something about this. I shouldn't be. I mean, I felt a leading, and I do believe it was from the Lord to speak about it
Yeah. You've been an
because I really
incredible
felt like
voice.
I've got
You
to,
yourself have been an incredible
you
voice
know,
over the years. You have.
yeah, I
You've
wanted to.
spoke out.
Thank
You
you.
I mean, you have volunteered. You work with all those different organizations up where you are trying to help different people.
Mhm. Yeah, I wanted to
So
be part of positive change, and I thought, it's good to use our voices,
it
and
is.
so of course not everybody's going to do that or
Yeah.
want to, but but for anybody who's thinking about it, man, I wouldn't go back and change it at all. I mean, if I
My
could, I'd do more. I mean, I'm just, you know, there's only so
you know,
much you can do. Like,
I I talk to my mom every morning. My mom calls me every morning 9:15 on the dot. I know that at 9:15 that phone's a ringing. And she said to me the other
that's
morning,
cool.
she's like, I I'm so proud of you for seeing this through, because she said I was worried it wasn't going to happen. She goes, but you've always been about helping kids,
Hmm.
fighting for kids, doing what's right for kids. She's like, this has to pass. And then she's
Hmm.
like, tell Aaron I said, hell yeah. And I'm thinking, I see my mom raising her fist, going, hell yeah. My mom's freaking awesome. She is.
That's very cool.
But you know,
Absolutely.
but it's nice
Yeah,
to it's
absolutely.
it's nice to have people in your life that support you and support what you do, because this is not like the cool business to be in. No one wants to be you. No one wants to be me, because
No,
they don't want to be out there running their
no.
mouths like
And
doing
they
it.
don't even want to hear from us most.
No. So to get the people that do support us, and I can name people that have supported us for years. I mean, Warren and Sharon and Jerry and
Mhm.
Maureen and John. I mean, they're just a few that I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
name. But then we got Susan Dobbins, and we got Betty, and we got all those like sweet people that have followed us for years and years and years. And a couple of them said to me the other day, I'm getting
That's
up there
right. There's
and
a
I
lot
can't,
more than that. That's right.
yeah. And they're like, we can't do it anymore. I know I was trying to think of like names, but there's 100 of them I could say. But, you know, they're like, I'm getting up
Oh,
there
there's
and
so many
we're all
people I
getting
know.
older. And they're like, I can't do it like I once did, but it's not that I don't
Mm.
support you. And I'm still here supporting you. And we have great people behind us. We really do. Our families and,
Oh yeah,
you know, I
absolutely.
mean, we do.
Like I
We
know
have some,
Cecil was really
yeah,
he thought
and
that was
see,
cool what we were doing. Yeah, like
yeah,
he was a big support for me, absolutely, because he was like, "Go for it, honey," you know. And because he
yep,
loved children, he cared about children. He loved the fight against child abuse. He thought that was great. He just was terminally ill, so he really couldn't get involved. But
yeah,
he was behind the scenes really supportive. You know? Yeah,
yeah. I know.
like he loved everything we were doing. He was not ashamed of it.
I know. As
He was
far as
happy about it.
traveling, Roger, he wouldn't travel back in the day. He was like, because he don't like to fly. He'd say, "You do the fly and stuff," and
Mhm.
then, but when we would be home, he would do the walks with me. He would. We used to make
Right. Yeah, he's a big time support for
the
you.
bags up, you know, for the children, and we did the Christmas for the kids, and
Oh, I
he was
know.
always right there
I
helping,
remember
always.
you telling me all that stuff that he would do. Exactly. Yeah, he's a big support for you. They're in person, like he's got your back there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool.
But
And yeah,
yeah,
instead of saying, "Oh, I don't care. You do it, honey. I don't care." Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I know Tom, you know Tom, and like I said, Jerry, Tom and Jerry, I just figured out that Tom and Jerry on TV. When I said it, I thought of them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's funny.
but, but they
I
have
know
been,
first thing in my mind was like, okay.
yeah, um, but they have been huge supporters from the time that I started. Tom, he has like always been like, "You got this, girl," or "You got this, hun." And then Jerry come
That's
along and
cool.
he's like, "You know, I support you. I got you." And it's nice to have people in your
Yeah.
corner, and because
Yeah,
we
they
get a
always
lot of,
comment and they always say nice things.
yeah, and we do have a lot of people that hate us. If you think about it, we really do. You know.
Every Yeah, if anything you do in the public, you're gonna have a hater, definitely, or
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Well, we get the people
There's
that
always
hate us
gonna be somebody
because,
who doesn't like what you're doing.
well, because right now we have a lot of people saying you're working on that bill so that you can put me in jail and you can do this and you can do that. And it's like, buddy, I can't put you in jail. The only person that can put you in jail is you. And that's because you abused a child.
Mhm.
Like, I don't have that right to just put somebody in jail. Although I would like to be a judge, because I'll tell you
No,
right now, the sentences would be unreal. These people wouldn't see the light of day again
that's
if
what
I
I
was a
that's what I
judge.
say.
But
Oh, yeah. I mean, and you know, we're talking like that's the thing. People are getting like 50 years for selling pot, selling
yep,
marijuana, and then some person who's killed a child gets out in 5 years.
5 years.
It's like, how does that make sense? It doesn't make no damn sense to me. It tells you
No,
that the child's life's not even worth a bag of pot. That's what that says. Is that
yeah,
a 2, 3, 4, 5 year old child, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old child, all the way up until they're considered an adult is not even worth a bag of pot to a judge. They give
no,
some federal bullshit sentence to somebody who gets caught selling drugs of some sort, but they don't give a shit about the fact that somebody
no,
kills a child.
no. And then
No
they
big
always
deal,
play
right?
you out.
So that
They
tells you
all,
what children are worth on the planet. It's always pissed me off.
yeah, but they always give plea
Mhm.
deals. I don't understand if they've killed a child and you
Yeah,
know they killed a child and you have
yeah,
the evidence they killed the child. Why the hell are we giving these people plea deals?
right.
Like, like what's up with the plea deals?
I don't know. It's not cool. It's just not. No, I don't understand all that. I really don't. No,
No.
no. I can see like some people have been convicted in unjustly because they've been found to be not guilty. But the thing is that it's not and that's sad. And I always feel bad for people that have been wrongly convicted because I
Me
myself would
too.
not want to be wrongly convicted.
No.
Um, my heart would be broken. I'd be like, I didn't do it, and I'm not guilty. Thing is, like, if somebody's there's very few people that are wrongly convicted. Most of those people are behind bars because the evidence is there, and they were caught red-handed doing the act.
Mhm.
It's like it wasn't something they had to try to piece together with very, shoddy evidence and all this stuff. You can kind of see that. But these people, a lot of these people were caught red-handed. Man, they are guilty as can be,
Mhm.
and there's total evidence for it. You know, they're given a couple of 5 years. They're basically given the sentence would be 25 years or something like that. And because of all this stuff that they got as far as a plea deal and all this stuff, they're walking in 5. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
time
So what's
time
5 years
served.
behind? Yeah,
Just
time served and all this
just
stuff,
like
right? And
Ron
then they get
Sanders,
out and
he
like get to
tortured
go
and
do it
killed
all.
a 2-year-old, and he served 5.5 years in jail. He tortured and
Mm-hmm.
killed a 2-year-old and got 5.5 years in jail. You mean to tell me a child?
Yeah.
When we were working on Connor's Law, I would say all the time, so Kentucky, a child's life's only worth 5.5 years to you. And there'd be different people, like they would be so
Mm-hmm.
offended. It's like, I want you to be offended because you should be embarrassed that 5.5 years is all he served for
Right.
killing that little boy, tortured and killed that little boy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I think that he should have been. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel about it. You get caught and busted, you're 100% guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt, and you do 5 years time. I think that he should have been tortured and killed. I really do. I'm
You
one of
know,
these people, honestly, I do believe in
prison has its
situations that
own
I'm
justice
an eye for
system.
an eye person when it comes to death and murder.
Yeah. I I had said that a couple weeks ago about, like, why not an eye for an eye?
Yeah,
Like, look at you're doing. And someone said, well, you can't this and you can't that. And I said, oh, so it's okay for them to abuse and kill a child. And then we just go, don't you do that again. Yeah, no, that's not cool.
that's it. Well,
It's not
yeah.
right.
Now you're going
The
to get a
laws,
nice little comfy cell, and you're going to get your internet and your TV and your food, 3 square meals a day, pampered and catered to. Not really. Prison's not great. Thing is that they're not suffering. A lot of them aren't suffering that bad, depending on where they're put. You know what I mean?
not just that,
And
prison
of
has its
course,
own
it's not
justice
fun.
system.
But they did the
So when you
crime. They need to do the time.
Yeah, and prison does have its own justice system. So when people find out that you either abuse
Mm-hmm.
or sexually assault or rape a child, trust me, they're gonna get you, and they're gonna get you quick.
Yeah,
You've seen it. We
that's
have
right.
seen it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. Because if you follow the news, I mean, if you follow this stuff, which I mean, as advocates, because I've always, since I started advocating, um, been watching and keeping up with what's going on. You do see that stuff, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's like, well, I don't feel sorry for them because they got
No,
what's coming. You can't. Why should they get away with doing that to a child, and then laugh about it? Probably telling somebody what they did because these people are sick. They think
yeah.
it's funny what they've done.
Well, Ron Sanders,
What's
he gave a
great? Here's
jailhouse
my
confession. Ron Sanders, he confessed to his cellmate or whatever
yeah.
they're called, what he did to
Mhm.
Connor. So it's like, you're proud. You're
Yeah,
proud you beat up and killed a 2-year-old.
there's a lot of people that are, and they think it's great, and that's the sad part. And those are the ones that don't have any remorse, and they don't feel bad at all. They think it's great, and they share it around like some sort of a this great thing that they've done. I pray that they go to the very bottom of the pits of the bottom of hell for eternity. And
There's a
that's
special
where
place
I
in
have a
hell.
feeling that that's where they're going.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's
I
a,
think that's where they're
there's a
going because
special
you know
place
what? You
in hell
cannot
for
do
people who
that. You
abuse
cannot
and kill
mock
children.
God to his face. That's
Yep.
right. We're talking the ones that do not repent. They don't feel bad one bit, and they think that what they've done is great, and they laugh at evil. They laugh at killing and murdering and torturing and maiming and doing all this horrible stuff, and they think it's funny. They're going to go to the bottom of the pit of hell.
And they should.
Yes,
They should.
I'm hoping so. I really do.
They
That's
should.
where they belong, and it's like that's what gets me through the night. Really, that's what gets me through the day. It's just knowing that justice will come one day, and the judge, you know, we know who the judge is. We know who the rightful, True judge
I know who
is.
the judge and
And there's
jury
going to be
is.
true justice on this earth.
He's both
That's
judge
right.
and jury.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So it's like, you know, these people they think they're so funny right now, but when they stand before the creator maker with nothing to hide behind, because there's nothing to hide behind,
Well,
and they're going to get shown what they did, and God's going to say, why why did you do this? You know what I mean? And they're going to have no excuse. There's going to be no excuse at all allowed. You know what I mean? They're going to stand before the maker creator, and he's not going to be happy. Not at all. We're not
no.
talking accidental death and stuff like that. So for somebody who's accidentally killed a child, we're not talking about that. We're talking about people that on purpose murder and abuse and you know, whatever they do to children. That's just wrong. So yeah, no. Kudos to anybody who's willing to speak out and say something, you know. Like you said, I mean, we've had a ton of support over the years. I mean, that's for sure. People still support us, you know, even though I'm sort of done advocating now, but like I said, I'll never stop talking about it. I'll never shut up about it, and I'll always speak out on behalf of children.
You'll always be a voice. I know myself, because I told Lee,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm hitting the 30-year mark just in like 3 weeks. And I said, I'm not going to be as active. I'm not going to be as active as I am right now. I'm like, it's not that I won't be a voice and stand up for kids. It's not that I won't want to seek change. But I said, I just can't travel like I did the last 10 years. Actually, Lori, it's been a lot longer than that, because I started really traveling a lot in 2007. So
I know.
It's been a long time. And I'm like,
I mean, we're going on like 20 years.
Yeah. And I just said, I'm like, I don't want to travel like we did. I don't want to constantly be on the go. Yes, I'll be a voice. Yes, I'll help where I can. Yes, I'll help with the law. But I don't want to be traveling weeks and days on end. There's just so much going on in life. You know, I said the other day to somebody, I have 11 years ahead of me that I have behind me. And I want to enjoy my family, and I want to enjoy my grandkids, and there's so much I want to spend more time with you and Lee. And I mean, I have other friends that I want to spend time with and do things with. And it's like, you know, like as important as it is, I can't travel like I did. There's too many things going on, even in my personal life, that I just can't drop everything and go at the moment. So I'm glad Aaron come aboard. I'm glad he's handling it. I'm going to hit my 30-year mark, and then I'm going to kind of hang up my little hat. I'm going to hang up my little hat.
No, and I mean,
but
it's understandable, because it's not like really.
Well,
yeah, you'll always be a voice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you'll always be out there to do what you can. Yeah.
Well, I said something the other day. I'm like, I'm not going to be like advocating anymore. And someone said to me at work, can you really hang up your hat and say you're not an advocate after all those years you advocated? And I'm like, well, I'll always be an advocate. Like, no denying that. But I said, I guess I just won't be, you know, I said on the go. But they're like, you can't just say you're not an advocate anymore because you have too many years invested. And it's like, even you yourself, you've had how many years invested? You can't just say, oh, I'm not an advocate, because for almost 20 years you were. So.
Yeah, almost 20 years. So that's almost a third of my life. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Yeah. And for you, I mean, it's been 30 years. That's over half your life. You've given over half your life to this. But, and that's the thing, like, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's kind of like, you know, like you were saying, you're always going to be a voice, of course, and always going to be interested in the welfare of children and do whatever, you know, if something needs to be done, of course you're going to do it. But it's the idea that it's not going to be a full-time thing so much anymore, like it has been a total full-time thing. So it's like, that's me. I don't mind talking about it. I certainly don't mind doing interviews, stuff like this, you know. You know, I'm just not going to advocate on a daily basis. Like, I you know,
that was kind of me, because it's like, Even just, I'll just say in the last 10 years with this registry, every day, like I was on the go, going here, going there, going here. Like it had just been crazy. I'd be on the phone for
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5 hours at a time. I've missed holidays. I've missed birthday parties. I mean, I missed family events that I could have been at because I had been working for
Mm-hmm.
this. I don't want to do that anymore. I
Yeah.
I want to help on one hand, but on the other hand,
Well,
my family is the most important thing in my world. And now I'm going to
yeah.
give them the
And I
next
think,
30
I mean,
years.
yeah, that's right. Give them some time. And that's the thing, right? I think there's nothing wrong with saying, I did, like I did what I could in a period of
Mhm.
time, and now I'm moving on. That's what I'm doing because I don't, I grew up abused and I lived in it, and then had to recover from all that. So I wouldn't end up giving up my life up and committing suicide. So I did a lot of work to heal from that. And then also was an advocate, and I've spent all my life in abuse. And now I'm like, I feel good these days. I really want
Yeah.
to, um, you know, I'm almost 60, and I thought, I don't know how many years I have left. And I
No.
thought with the rest of my life, I want to, focus on other things that I want to
Mhm.
do. I don't think that's selfish. It's not
No.
selfish at all. It's not
No.
selfish to want to take time for you and your family. Some people might think that that's selfish, but you've given over half your life to this. And I mean, we're talking, I mean, year after year, day after day, hour after hour. Sometimes we were working together, me and Donna, Lee, and us all as a group with other advocates. We were working like 10, 12-hour days together, all of us all across the country. But we would be on projects together, working on sometimes
Mm-hmm.
10, 12 hours, and I mean, just go. And
Or
we
longer.
loved it. It was great, and yeah, and I wouldn't change that for anything. But
Oh,
the thing
me either.
is I realized like a couple of years ago, like, no, you wouldn't change it. No, I know that. No, because it was great. It was wonderful. But it's like I don't feel bad about walking away from it right now. I really don't,
No.
because like I said, I'm not really walking away from it. I'm always going to be a voice just like you.
Yeah.
But I feel like I only have so much time left, and I want to do some things that I want to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it is a bit
Most
of a challenge though
definitely.
because we did it for so long. Yeah, I mean, especially you. You've done it for over half your life, so it's a bit of a challenge to then be able to say, that's okay. Let somebody else pick up the mantle and run with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit back and enjoy my grandkids. Because pretty soon your
Well,
grandkids are going to be have children, and you're going to be a great grandmother. And
I'm
it's
starting to look
like
like a great
in a few
grandmother.
more years that could happen, right? You don't even look like a grandmother, really. I mean, you're holding out really well. But
Thank
the
you.
thing is like seriously, life goes on, and you want to be able to enjoy your grandchildren,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and not be just busy, busy, busy. You only have this one life here, and you gave
Yeah.
your time, and I think there's nothing selfish about saying, "I'm
Yeah.
stepping away." That's okay. There's
Yep.
nothing wrong with it.
No, I don't think so. And
Nothing
I
wrong
had
with
one
it.
person say to
Yeah,
me, "So you're going to quit?" And I says, "Well, I'll tell you what. You pick up where I left off." Because this person's
that's right.
never advocated or anything. I says, "Well, if you're so worried about it, you pick up where I'm leaving off." Well, no.
Exactly.
I'm like, "That's right. It's a lot of
That's
work. It's a lot of work."
it is. It is, and it's a lot of it's not a happy thing. That's what I'm saying. It's not the most popular thing to be doing, advocating against stopping and preventing child abuse, because most people don't give a shit what you're talking about.
No.
They
You
don't want
don't.
to hear from you. And if it's not a fun topic, they don't want to hear it. So
No.
they tune you out. And it's like you have to just keep talking and keep talking. The rejection comes. It's so hard because nobody wants to hear from you. But
Lori,
you just
I
keep doing it
have
anyway because you're like, I don't care.
I have a private Facebook page and I have 2,800 plus friends on there. If I put up a post about child abuse, there is less than 10, I could probably say less than 5 and still be correct on point, but less than 10 people will
Hmm.
either make a comment or like the status, be mad at the status, whatever. Um,
Right.
2,800 people. The other day I posted something
Oh
about the
yeah.
registry registry, and I put the link up so that they could kind of check out what Erin's doing. And I had 9 people like it and comment. 2 of those people was you and Lee. So 7
Right. So that's
people.
only 7, right?
So you mean to tell
Yeah,
me
outside of
that
the group.
that in my community I only have 7 people that have children?
Yeah. When I post stuff, I have like, well, I'm kind of a public page, so I put it that way on purpose. But now I only post to friends. I used to post public all the time. All my posts were public. Now they're all friends, only friends.
Well,
So
see, we have
I
AU4H's
got
page.
tired of having.
Yeah. Well, see, we have
Yeah.
AU4H's page, and that's like the page where we put Lexi runs it, Logan runs it, and Ashley run it. And they'll
Mhm.
put posts up every day, missing children, how you get help if you're being abused, or like the stuff we're doing. The new thing we're working on, Lee's working on mostly, the animal abuse registry, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
They post
that's
all
right. Yeah,
that,
that's great.
and we will get different support from there. But a lot of people they will have more comments and likes for a dog than they will a child. Seriously.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like on my page, I gave up posting stuff about child abuse on my page a long time ago because I got like 3,000 something friends,
Mm-hmm.
and some are really close, like you and Lee, and then others I don't really. They just liked what I was doing, I guess, or they liked what we were doing, or whatever. They just follow me. But the thing is like if I post something about child abuse or anything like that, I get zero attention. It gets zero attention. I don't even get one unless you see it or Lee sees it on my page. You'll post something there, or you'll like it, or you'll love it, or whatever. Nobody else. So you had, I mean, seriously, at least you had 7 people. I just get you and Lee. That's it. So I get 2 people. And
How
it's only you
sad's
and
that?
Lee. Nobody
How,
likes.
mm-mm.
I just think that they don't want to see it because it's disturbing. It's like they see something about child abuse, immediately it either makes them mad because a lot of people do love children and they get mad when they hear about this stuff, and they feel like, oh, I can't afford to get mad right now. You know what I mean? It's going to set my whole day off and I'll be pissed all day. There's probably lots of people like that, and then there's other people that where it'll make them cry and they won't be able to stop crying because so many people do. If
I
they hear
do.
something bad about a child, they just can't deal with it. It's harsh, right? It is harsh, and it's hard to put that. It's hard to compartmentalize it and say, okay, it's okay to feel the feelings. I can deal with it. I can cut it off, go do my day. Sometimes this stuff will stay with you. For instance, like that Anson Stover story that really bothered me, and I mean, I spent a lot of time praying and just crying, and because I tried to picture myself in his shoes, and I thought the cruelty of people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would you do that to a boy like that? Like, I would have loved to have him for a son. You know what I mean? He would have been most likely spoiled rotten. And it's like, you ought to taken good care of him. You know what I mean? And there's all these people that just kill children. So is some of this sometimes it can affect you a certain way. And I think sometimes people are not ready for their feelings. So they just ignore it. They let it go by because they're like, I can't look at that right now. Then there's the ones that just absolutely don't care about children. My sister's like that. She doesn't give a shit about children. She had her daughter. She loves her daughter. She didn't abuse her daughter. She got her daughter out of abuse actually by divorcing her husband, who was a bit of an abuser. So thankfully, she got away from him and raised her daughter. Loved her daughter. She spoiled her daughter rotten. My niece.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so nothing wrong with my sister the way she brought up her daughter. She loves her
No.
daughter. Doesn't give a shit about the kid over there. She doesn't care about any other kids. It's like those are those people's problems, not my problem. That's how she feels
A lot
about
of
it.
people feel that
And I
way,
think
though.
that's how a lot of people. That's right. It's not my child, so I don't care. Right?
You know, the worst part
And
for
that's
me
sad.
is when I stop crying, that to me, that would mean I no longer care. And like I
Yeah.
read these cases or I see them on the news, and like it literally, like I get emotional. When those feelings would stop for me, I would be concerned about myself as a human being, because if I don't
Mhm.
feel for
That's
sympathy
it.
or empathy for somebody, then I got a problem. And
Hmm.
I do. I mean, my heart goes out to them, and that's why for so long that I tried to fight it. tooth and nail, but there's so many abusers. You're never gonna be able to stop them. You're not.
No,
The only thing you can do is, just
no,
like I
because
said, get laws on the books that make them have harsher, tougher sentences, and that's what we've been doing the whole time. We've been
exactly.
testifying before lawmakers. We've been trying to make a difference, and that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, and open registries where public can get that information, access it, and actually know that they should be doing that. And it's like, that should be taught. Like once this is in place, like he was saying, it could go nationwide. Hopefully, it will.
I hope so.
Hopefully, eventually be nationwide. Wouldn't that be great? It would be great for Pennsylvania. That's wonderful. That's a step in the right direction.
Yep.
But if it could go national, I mean, that would be the best thing, right? But the
I
thing
think,
is, then
like
it's
most
educating
laws,
people that they do need to protect their children.
I do think if it gets passed in Pennsylvania, which I'm very confident he's going to kick ass, like he's awesome. I do think it will go national.
Oh, yeah.
I think eventually it will be. I read something the other day about Michigan that they were trying to do something with an open registry as well. And I know just since us, we have gotten so many different emails from different people from different states saying, what do we have to do to bring you out here to get it done here? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to come out there, but I can give you some resources to get it done in your area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect him with Aaron. I mean, he's in there. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put him in contact with him. He can put him in contact with representatives in their area that can best help them. Because when Lee and I started,
that's right.
Even when I started myself, when I was gathering statistics and trying to get all the information, I had no clue where to start, just like most people. And you reach out to local government organizations.
I wouldn't have.
I didn't. I mean, it was like crazy. But you start reaching out to like local government and organizations. And quite honestly, all you have to do is reach out to a lawmaker. You don't need a petition. We had a petition. We had like 15,000 people sign it. We didn't even need all those names.
Yeah.
We and I think altogether, like we had 4 separate petitions or something. One had like 1,500 people on it. One had 250. But you don't even need that. All you have to do is find someone, a representative in your state that, just like Aaron, believes in you and believes in what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, believes in what you're trying to accomplish. Exactly. Yeah. And has an idea that it could actually be done. Yeah. And why it's being done. Yeah. Understands the need for it. Exactly. We're not talking about something stupid. We're talking about something very important.
Yeah. I think when he said that day,
saving children.
It's not going to be everything you want it to be, but we're going to get it as close as we can. I think that we had fought so hard for this one thing, and I was like, I want this, and this. And no, it's probably not going to turn out to be exactly the way I want it. But if it protects kids,
right,
and then our job's done, For years, I used to say, I help just one kid, because people used to say, especially locally here, oh, like you're this advocate, and who you're really helping, or what are you really doing? Because you really aren't seeing anything. And I used to say, if I help one kid, I did my job. I did my job.
That's
and
right.
Quite honestly, we've helped thousands of children over the years. So we've well done our job.
That's exactly. Yeah, that's what I said too. I was like, if all this stuff that I did and, talk on those broadcasts, if it helps one person, I've done my job,
And you have, because when we were doing,
it's amazing, like how
radio, but when we were on 84H radio, we were getting those comments every week, and people was loving your shows. They were loving what you were doing. Even Lee was doing this Wellness Wednesday thing or something, like checking in with people. They love that. So there is a following out there, and people do care, and they follow along. And I think a lot of people, just like when you were doing the check-ins, a midweek check-in, I think that people depended on you because they showed up. They showed up for you, but more importantly, you were showing up for them. And I think that really mattered. It made a difference. The point is
I just wanted to be a bit of support, and unfortunately, because a lot of people, right? It's just doing whatever you can in your own capacity. That's all people are trying to do.
But you even take kids with a baseball game. You
Mm-hmm.
get parents that the parents don't show up. You get kids that play basketball, parents don't show up. One of the most important things you can do for your child is show
Mm-hmm.
up. So when you have a bunch of survivors like you and I have worked with, and you hold a
Yep.
Wednesday wellness check and you show up for them, they're showing up for you, but it's more important that you are showing up for them. And it took me a long time to learn that, because I remember saying to
Mm-hmm.
Lee, "Oh, I get Wednesday nights is like midweek. I'm freaking exhausted by Wednesday. Can we pick another day?" And she used to say, "But it's the midpoint of the week."
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and then I got to realize after several shows, like, these people are in this chat room and they're waiting for us to show up. And that was important to them. And they thanked us for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to show up for
Yeah,
somebody.
it does.
Really important to
Yeah,
show up
that's
for
right. And it does matter. Like some people think that this stuff doesn't matter, but it does.
it
And
does.
our voices, all of our voices are important. And
Some
we can
people
be
have
there for
nobody.
you whatever.
Some
That's
people
it.
have nobody,
That's it.
Lori.
Some people
Some
have
people are
zero
alone.
help. Yeah.
I don't know how many
Mm-hmm.
comments we
Yeah,
got
that's
about
right.
you, and they would say, like, they really didn't have anybody, but yet you were there and you checked in with them. And I thought that was incredible, because you were doing that midweek check-in, and people was there and
Mm-hmm.
they were waiting for you so that they could let you know that they're okay. And that, I think that means everything.
Yeah, it is. It's really important. I think people don't realize how important that is. It's like so because not everybody has somebody in their life that cares about them,
No,
and some
no,
people, I mean, whether they're adults or children, I mean, some people just don't. And it's really
no, they're
important is like
alone.
whatever you can do in your own capacity. Yeah, I mean, it's just to let somebody know that you care about them and that you're there to listen to them and
Hmm.
you're there to just to be a shoulder, or just a hand to hold, just a hand up,
A
spiritually or
listening
whatever
ear.
way, you know what I mean? Because not all of us have money to help people with, but just listening, exactly. Because that's
Yeah.
the thing, they just are not heard. Their voices are not heard. They don't. Nobody listens to them. They don't know anybody that cares. They're on their own, and I mean, I still like to do stuff like that. I wanted to kind of get back into that. Right now, I'm more concerned with my physical health, so I keep walking.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
once that, God willing, in the next 2 months or so, once I'm in better shape and I get my health back a bit more, I'm going to be able to do a little bit more online. Because right now my focus had to be getting in better shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I do like doing stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be all the time. You can do one, it's just once a week check in, like Lee was doing with the wellness thing, which I thought was great. You and Lee, and just it's just I was doing mine usually on a Saturday check in,
Hmm.
sometimes a
I
Friday night, but
remember,
it's
I
whatever. Just
remember
so
you doing your shows. I can remember you doing your shows, and I would be in like that little chat thing that pops up where you can type
oh, I know
stuff.
you were there for a lot of them.
And there was people in there, and
Yeah,
like
you were
they would say
in
they were
the chat
waiting
room
for
quite a bit.
you,
I know.
but they were literally sitting in there waiting for you. And like, as you're sharing your week, like, they're sharing in the chat their
Hmm.
week. And to those people in that group, it was so
Hmm.
important that you showed up for them because you cared enough to be there.
That's right. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're doing here too. That's why it's called Women Like Me. So for anybody who's listening to this and you've got this far in, it's great that you're here with us. We appreciate it. We're a new show, so you got to share us out. We do all we can to share it out, but it takes time to build an audience, and people
Hmm.
it takes time to build your little tribe or whatever you want to call it. People that are in tune with what you're talking about. So it's kind of like, if you like this and whatever, join us in the chat because really that's what we're doing here as well. I mean, Donna and I talk outside of this show. Like, we're both busy, but we do try to we stay in contact. If I don't see Donna in a couple of days, I'm checking on her because I want to. Hopefully everything's all right. I'm checking in. If she doesn't see me in a couple of days, she checks on me because it's like, we're always in touch. We do that with Lee as well.
Yeah.
So because it's good to know if somebody's watching, making sure you're okay. And it's like it doesn't even have to be something big and long. It's like, oh hey, I'm okay, just busy. Thanks for checking on me. It feels really great to have somebody that
It
cares
does.
about you, you know.
It
And
does.
so, yeah, absolutely. Because like we said, we don't always have a lot of people around that can do that for us, you know. And
Yep.
everybody needs support at times, and we all need support in our lives all the time. So it's kind of like, that's kind of what we're doing these shows for. It's not just so we can sit here and be like, oh, look at us, we're so great, and all this shit. It's like we wanted to have fun on here, but
Hmm.
also because we're women and we've hit this age, like Donna's the young, and I always say she's younger than me, but we're getting up there. We're moving up there in years, and we've both been through a lot. And it's like we have a lot to offer, I think, and a lot to share with people. So
Hmm.
if you just want a friend, you just want somebody to sit and chat with, and join us in the chat. You know what I mean? And say hello. You know, um, people are on their own a lot of the time. There's a lot of people out there that are lonely, especially that will hit chat rooms because they're like, "Wow, what's this show about?" I do a lot of surfing online, and especially on YouTube, and I check out people's shows and stuff like that. I always comment, unless the chat's becoming stupid, and then I don't get involved. But if everybody's behaving themselves pretty well, I'll get involved. But it's just nice because it's good to know that people do care. Sometimes we
Hmm.
can't. Sometimes people just aren't in a position to be able to help every single person. Obviously, right? The thing is that there are people out there that do care, and we do. You know what I mean? Like we've been doing public broadcasting for years and years, but we just wanted to do something fun. So tonight we're talking about something serious, but and we probably will in the future too, because the registry is a House Bill 849, and I believe it's going to be passed. I really do. I think it's going to get passed, and the we'll be sharing more information about it. So obviously, we will still be talking about this stuff, but we don't want to. We didn't want to make that the focus of this. That's why we called it
No.
Women Like Me, because we wanted to. Yeah, we wanted to be able to come on and laugh and joke and have fun and be completely unscripted. So whatever, like Wednesdays, I'm busy and Donna's busy. So we don't get a chance to chat on Wednesdays. So we haven't discussed what we're talking about here tonight. We haven't talked about any of this stuff all day because I haven't really had a chance to talk to Donna for a couple of days, for any length of time. So it's like we're just coming in with no script, going, "Hey, how's your day going?"
Well,
And it's right off the cuff. I
it,
mean,
it
we're
was
just
kind of
telling
like
it like it
before.
is.
It was kind of like before this show started, and I was like, I took my eyeball out and put my glasses on, and I think my face was like right against the
So
screen. So I'm
contact.
waiting for this to play back because I'm thinking my face is going to be right on the screen because I
Oh,
was
it's too
showing you my
funny.
eyeball.
Yeah, it hasn't gone live yet. I don't. That's funny. It didn't go live, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, we're just catching up, and we thought, you know what, this would be fun to do because we would if we were sitting around with nothing to do and we weren't busy, we'd be on the phone doing this for 4, 5, 6,
Yes,
7 hours,
yes.
whatever. So we thought, hey, we could do a show. We could just laugh and shoot the shit, and it's so much
I
fun.
can,
Yeah, it's already
my
almost
laptop is going to die in three
it's almost
minutes.
1 o'clock. Yeah,
My
and
laptop, the battery's
you
going
know,
to
it's
die
almost
in
1 o'clock
3
your time too. So I mean, you got to sleep at some point.
minutes. I do.
I can't
Tomorrow I'm
believe
sleeping in.
how late you're still talking.
I'm sleeping in tomorrow till
2
7.
minutes. That's right. We better say goodnight to everybody. Um, yeah. I hope you have a good night. And for everybody who's tuning in, check back with us next Wednesday. We'll be back.
Thank you for being awesome, Lori. I love you.
Yep. Good night, Donna. Good night, everybody. Take good care of yourselves until next time. We'll be back on Wednesday night, same time, same place. And like I said, if you want to see our other shows, we are on Spotify, and we're getting in. If you made it this far through the chat, thank you very much for being here with us, and join us next Wednesday. Take good care. God bless. Bye bye.